back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to continue our journey with one Norman Bates. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. And I'm going to give my shameless plug here for my TeePublic page. This shirt's on there amongst many more. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. If you're interested, go over and check it out. If not, that's cool too. I'm also going to leave an Amazon affiliate link for Psycho 3 down below. It helps out the channel, but does not cost you a dime. So if you're interested in this film, check that out as well. And now on to Psycho 3. Psycho 3 came out July 2nd of 1986. It's rated R. It's an hour and 33 minutes long, the shortest one so far in the franchise. Had a budget of $8 million, and upon release it made 14, so it was also the lowest grossing movie in the franchise at this point. And this one was directed by none other than the star of the film, Anthony Perkins, in his directorial debut. He would go on after this to direct one more film, but that was it. He only directed two movies in his career. Anthony Perkins, as I just said, was back as Norman Bates, and Jeff Fahey is back, or in this film, as Dwayne Duke, and I love his character. Such a scumbag, but glorious all at the same time. Right at the beginning of the film opens up, we're introduced to Maureen, this nun who's having a crisis of faith and looking to almost commit suicide. She's at the top of this bell tower. The nuns are trying to stop her. One of the head nuns is trying to pull her in, and she pulls her arm back, and the nun falls down the tower and gets killed. And we see Maureen traversing through the desert with the nunnery behind her, and she's off in the desert and away from being a nun. And this is where she meets Dwayne Duke on the side of the road, and he gives her a ride. And he's going to California to be a singer. And he ends up pulling over because it's raining really hard. It's nighttime, and they decide to go to sleep. And while Maureen's sleeping, Dwayne's being Dwayne and starts putting a flashlight up her dress and checking around, trying to come on to her, and she's pushing him away and says, "No, this is not what she wants." And he kicks her out of the car, and he delivers this gloriously scumbag line, "You could have been coming instead of going." And he throws her suitcase out of the car and into this big puddle, and he takes off. And she starts going through the desert, and here we're reintroduced to Norman Bates. A nice sunny day. He's still running a motel. Mother's still upstairs, and the establishing shots of the Bates house is great. I love it. The setup of it, the motel, and the house. And even at the house, they show a shot of the basement window, where in the second one, this young man gets killed because him and his girlfriend go down there to start to make out and just have some fun. And he gets killed. And in the second one, his hand goes up on the glass and comes down. And they kept that handprint on the glass when they show the establishing shots of the Bates house. I love that. They also show a book in like the bushes in the dirt, and it's the same book that Meg Tilly's character was reading in the second film. I love that attention to detail. And I think actually Anthony Perkins does a nice job of directing here, especially for a first timer. I love the transitions here too. They're very creative. So I think he does a really nice job here. Well, Maureen finds her way. Well, Duke finds his way to the motel first, and he sees that Norman's hiring, and Norman hires him to run the desk for $8 an hour and a free room, which back then wasn't too bad actually. And Maureen actually stumbles her way upon the motel, gets a room, and now she's there, and Norman is smitten with her, and kind of reminds him of Marion Crane. And pretty soon, I mean, his motel's doing better, but pretty soon Norman's off his rocker again, and he starts killing people that are staying there. And he has his sights on Maureen, and he goes into her room dressed as mother to kill her, but she's already slit her throat trying to commit suicide, or slit her wrist trying to commit suicide, and he pulls back the curtain, and he sees her there, and she's delirious at this point from the blood loss, and she thinks Norman's Mary coming to save her, and so he gets her to the hospital and actually saves her. He doesn't kill her. He takes her to the hospital, she recovers, and she comes back to stay with Norman. Well, there's also a reporter here trying to prove that Norman's still off his rocker, and pretty soon things go from bad to worse. Norman has already been killing people. Dwayne's on to Norman and thinks Norman has money. He steals Mother out of her room, and him and Norman have a knockdown, drag-out fight in Duke's room. Norman kills Duke, buries him in the swamp, and pretty soon Maureen gets killed, and Norman's after the reporter, and the reporter saved at the last moment. The cops come in, Norman is taken into custody, and that's the end of, well, we get the final shot, which was a reshoot actually. because Universal wasn't happy with the ending, so they went back and reshot this ending. Norman's in the back of the squad car, and he's the chief of police has put him in the car. Said, "I believed in you, Norman. I thought I was on your side, and you proved me wrong. I'm so disappointed." And Norman's like, "Well, at least I'm free now," because at the end he cuts up Mother's body. But as he's sitting in the back of the police car, the lights dim on him, and you see him pull out Mother's arm, and he's holding her hand as he's petting it. And he gets this crazy smile. He looks into the camera, and that's the end of the movie. I really like the ending of this movie as well. What to like about this film? Well, again, Anthony Perkins is great here. He really is. And this is the shortest film of the Psycho films thus far. It definitely moves at a quick pace. I think he does a nice job with the directing, too. For his first time out, I love the establishing shots of the motel and the house. I love the way the kills are framed. I think he does a really nice job. The transitions, I think they're very creative here. I love Jeff Fahey. Here's Dwayne Duke. Such a terrific, scuzzy human being, and he plays it gloriously. Some of the lines he says, I just love it. Terrific character. When he gets his comeuppance, because actually you're kind of rooting for Norman to kill this guy. And when he does, it's actually kind of a satisfying moment. So it's kind of a weird film where you're actually kind of rooting for Norman. And in this film, Norman's full off his rocker again. But he takes a liking to Maureen, and it doesn't work out for Norman. Norman's not going to find love here. Overall, I think this is a really good sequel. It's definitely the sleazier one. There's more nudity here. It's definitely bloodier than the other ones. But when I was a kid, this is probably the one I rewatched the most. Now, obviously, as I've gotten older, this is not my favorite one, but when I was a kid, I used to rewatch this a lot on VHS. Anthony Perkins actually wanted to shoot this in black and white. Universal said, nope, we're not going to do that. And other than that, I have no trivia really on this film, but if you're interested, this Scream Factory Special Edition Blu-ray looks fabulous. It's still available to purchase on Amazon. Again, I'll put up a link down below, affiliate link if you want to buy it. At the end of the day, this is a perfectly good third movie in a franchise that I like this one. It moves at a quick pace. It's not as good as the first two films, but it's definitely a worthy sequel in this franchise. At the end of the day, I'm going to give Psycho 3 an 8 out of 10. I've always enjoyed it. It's nowhere near as good as 2, and it's certainly not as good as 1, but it's definitely a good sequel, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Have you ever seen Psycho 3? What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with Psycho 4 The Beginning, but until then, bye.